I covered everything from food, sports, fashion. I know it doesn't seem like it. Maybe the food makes the most sense. Back then, I used to call it luck. But now, I would say I'm extremely blessed. And then at the end of it all, I'm not dying, by the way. I just sound like I'm always dying. I'm kidding. I would probably burn myself out. So, sorry. No, distraction. My BS meter is very, very in tune.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second episode of Enderun Unmuted. So this is the episode you've all been waiting for. If you guys feel like you needed a little more from episode 1, here is that part 2 that we promised. Right, Irvin?
Yes, that is true. And, since our topic last week was about conquering distractions, I think this part is the cherry on top of that topic. So, All right, so you think we should start, Jacob?
Definitely. I think we should start. I remember having this episode with Miss Cherry, and I definitely learned a lot of important things about conquering my distractions that you'll get to see. So keep watching.
Yeah, if you want to stay inspired and motivated, guys, please stay. And here it is. See you guys.
Stay.
Enjoy.
Well, I think now we can fast forward a little bit more into long before your time as principal of Enderun. What I want to know is, we know that one of the students are working for Manila Bulletin, and I was hoping that you can talk a little bit more about your experience there.
All right. Well, that was I've been very lucky in my professional life that things have, these opportunities have kind of presented themselves to me. I never really had to go out and look for it. So when I was in college, I think I was in my 4th year, and one of my professors had a friend who was working at Manila Bulletin. She was a lifestyle editor, and they were saying that they needed interns to work in the lifestyles department. And I thought, well, I'm not doing anything, and I'm not quite sure, because I wanted to be a teacher. I knew I wanted to teach eventually, but then this was a good opportunity to kind of, again, gain a lot of experience, meet a lot of people. And so I thought, why not? I might want to be a journalist. One of my big idols back then was Christiana Amanpour. And so I thought, don't say no to that opportunity. Yeah. So I went in, and I was the only intern from my university to go, and I was also the oldest, because usually when you intern, you're in your 2nd or your 3rd year, or your 1st and your 3rd year. So I was the only senior there, and they were kind of looking at me going, what are you doing here? But I was the only one that they kept on after the internship program ended. Wow. So from there, I think my 1st or 2nd, after 1 or 2 small features, I got my first real assignment, and then I transitioned into having a byline, and so that was fun. And it was one of those jobs that really allowed a lot of freedom, because you didn't have to go to the paper every day. You would get sent assignments. Everything was communicated online or through text or on Messenger. And they would just be like, hey, Cherry, there's an event over there, or something's getting launched, something's opening, or somebody's having a press junket. Could you go cover it? So I covered everything from food, sports, fashion. I know it doesn't seem like it. Maybe the food makes the most sense.
Okay.
But I remember Moms and Tina's on C5.
Oh yeah.
When they first opened. Yeah, when they first opened, I covered their opening. And I remember I loved that place because it was just me and the photographer that I was always partnered with. but they literally prepared one of everything on their menu for us.
Oh my god.
That's so fun.
It was
so
so
cool.
and they were so gracious, they were so nice, and I'm so happy that they've had such success, because good people deserve good things.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
And
true.
you mentioned that you were lucky, Miss. I think you weren't. I think opportunities are like given to people who are qualified. So
Well, there's a little bit of back then I used to call it luck, but now I would say I'm extremely blessed.
Yeah.
I've been extremely blessed in all of my experiences, even the ones that, while in the moment, seem really difficult
Mhm.
or like insurmountable. You kind of just push on through. You learn to have that resilience, and then at the end of it all, I'm not dying, by the way. I just sound like I'm always dying. No, kidding. But after those experiences,
She's so wise.
you can you can look back on it and see why it was necessary for you to go through that, and in that you'll always be blessed.
Yeah.
That's great, Miss. So, like, basically, with all of these achievements, so many that we haven't covered, but I think the time. But what were the kinds of distractions you've encountered, and how did you manage to conquer these? Going back to the topic.
That's a really good question. Is it really mean that the first thing that popped into my head when you said like distraction was like family life?
It's not mean, Miss.
Not
me,
mean.
Miss.
Like, I think we can definitely relate to this.
I think that's real,
I mean,
Miss.
distractions
not
can be
mean.
good and bad at the same time, right? So
Exactly.
Mm.
And it's just how you're like,
Yeah.
because we segued from career talk, and then we talked about distractions. So one of the hardest things that I had to learn right out of college was how to juggle all the different aspects of my life, because I didn't believe in rest. Like, I thought I was too young to want to rest. And so while I was writing for Manila Bulletin, I was also, at ISM. I had my daughter, I got married. And so there were all these balls in the air that you kind of have to juggle. And when you're trying to hold on to one ball, or when you're focusing on one ball, whether you like it or not, all the others become distractions. And it's just a kind of a switching of foci. So how you deal with distraction? For me, it was being able to communicate clearly with the people around me that right now I need this time to do this. Oh, I was also studying while I was doing that.
that's a lot.
I forget. No. No. It was fun though, because it's one of those things where I don't think I would ever be able to do all of those things at the same time now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm so glad that I kind of grabbed the bull by the horns when I could, and just held on for as long as I could, because again, a lot of your growth, a lot of learning is through experience. There's only so much that you can learn by someone telling you about it. You really have to go through it. So being able to tell, say for instance, my family that, okay, I need these 2 hours to get this article done. So please, distract yourselves for 2 hours. Or being able to tell my editor, sorry, I'm not going to be able to take this assignment because I have another engagement, or I have things to prepare for my teaching job, or I have to take care of my daughter. Being able to self-advocate and recognize when to set that boundary really is, and it's something that comes extremely difficult to young people, especially like young Asians, because we're always taught to just say yes, or to never demand for anything. And the thing is, it's not really a demand when you're stating these boundaries. It's recognizing and respecting how you can be the most effective and the most efficient. And that's a service to everybody, right? But it's really hard because it comes across as being difficult or demanding.
That's true.
So finding a way to do it in a respectful way, especially if you're talking to people who are older than you. I was lucky because it was mostly like my kids; they have no choice, or my ex-husband, and that's supposed to be a partnership, right? So there's supposed to be that respect and that equality there. But I was very lucky in that sense that they were very supportive of all of the things that I had going on. One of the ways also to like save yourself from distraction or to kind of get through it is to allow yourself to be distracted sometimes. Sometimes your brain just needs it. Maybe that was why I had so many things going on, because I recognized that if I just had one thing, I would obsess about it. I would kind of like beat it to death, and I would probably burn myself out. So, sorry. Distraction.
No good.
And so allowing yourself to be distracted once in a while, allowing your brain that space to kind of say, okay, I need to recalibrate. I need to look at something else. I need to feel something else or do something else. That's just part and parcel of being human. We have very limited attention spans. It's kind of like our brains are stacked against us when we want to focus on something. And so just acknowledging that and finding other distractions that are still productive is one way that's worked for me, which is why I like how on my list of like hobbies and interests, my first one was crocheting. And you guys didn't touch that one. I taught myself how to crochet and how to knit because when I was doing my master's degree, I was getting so like sucked into studying and obsessing about all this material and all of these new things that I wanted to try out, but I didn't have the capacity yet I didn't have guinea pigs to try out these new things on. Hello, children. Just kidding. And so it led to a lot of like pent up frustration. Like I want to do something, but I don't have the opportunity to do it yet. And so I had to channel that into something that felt like I was doing something or I was making something, and that was crochet. So I would sit there like while I was reading stuff and I would be dreaming of curriculum, I would be crocheting at the same time so that I still felt like there was a physical output to all of this thing.
And I think you can actually focus on stuff, while crocheting, miss. Right?
Yeah.
Peace, right?
That's like I think it's like taking a shower.
It's like taking a shower, but
yeah.
I love to knit.
Okay.
Actually, in between classes, well, not really in between, maybe while the semester, I'm like knitting on the side. Actually, I have one right now. It's not that good. I can show it.
Yeah,
it's like a little pouch.
So which subject were you doing this in?
Hey, that's nice.
So Kyla, which
I like
class?
the
Like a
pattern.
little-
What are you doing?
Which class?
Do not divulge.
not.
It's fine.
Thank you, miss.
Yeah,
Thank
actually.
But is it like it looks like a seashell pattern, like a
Miss, it's
Like,
like
sure.
a
scalloped?
Well, I actually took it up after a while, and so like I searched like the easiest pattern that doesn't look the most boring, and I saw this one, and so basically. But yes, miss, I get
so
you.
nice.
I love to have something with my hands while I'm doing like schoolworks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, like, in that zoning out, like, brilliance strikes. It all makes sense. Sometimes, like, if I'm trying to read something and it's just not making any sense to me, I have to go away from it, like, put the text away, grab my yarn and my hook, kind of go at it, and then I'll think about it in my head, and then it'll start to make sense.
So that's how you cope now.
That's how I cope. I have actually, this is a sad thing. With all, you would think that being like online learning and being at home would give me more time to do those things. I have not picked up my crochet hook in almost a year. That's so sad.
That's sad.
Oh,
The last thing
sad, miss.
the last thing I crocheted was like a mini house for our cat when we first got him and he was a kitten. And now he's like
so
proper
cute.
big.
Is that
That's
long?
so cute.
No, Long came to us already
Right,
big.
right, right.
It's Luffy.
That's
Actually,
so cute.
Long is right beside me, and he just got out of a bath, so he's taking solace. He's taking shelter under my chair.
Right.
Okay, well, before we move on to the next question, I actually have a confession to make. I'm kind of craving cookies right now.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Well,
you know, the best cookies are at your fingertips.
How about a cookie from our sponsors?
Yes.
The classic cookie.
Oh, what a great idea, Kyla.
Wow.
Yes. So you guys can actually follow the classic cookie on Instagram so you can get your hands on some treats like chocolate chip cookies, snickerdoodles, sugar
Delicious.
cookies, brownies, all that stuff. And Miss Cherry is actually she's so very supportive of me. And I love
Wait,
her
only
for that.
her?
Thank
Come
you,
on,
Miss
Kyla.
Cherry.
We always buy
We've
it.
all ordered from you, Kyla.
Well, no.
I ordered in bulk.
Oh, okay. You lied.
Oh, okay.
She did.
I ordered once. To show my support.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh my
actually, guys,
gosh.
to be honest, it's one of the best cookies I've tasted.
It is.
They
like
are so
grandmas
good.
have
Yeah, yeah.
approved
You should
Oh
pay us,
my
Kyla.
goodness.
the deliciousness of her cookie.
We're an ambassador
Thank
for
you.
that.
Cookies. We are. We really are.
I should have my own like cookie section, like vintage, you know, because it's classic.
Oh,
Vintage.
I get it. Good job. That
Amazing.
wit.
Okay.
Comedy gold. Okay.
All right. Okay. I just want to go back to like the thing Miss said a while ago about like the brightest plan out there, maybe not the one for you. You said something about like that, Miss,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, maybe that plan, even if it looks great and even if it looks like the best for you, maybe sometimes it's too bright for you. So so if you think like right now, if anyone is having like difficulties, like frustrations that they're not going through that goal, not having that now, no, it's okay. Look at Miss Cherry, guys. She's like, wow. Like peace, right? She has peace right
She has peace.
now. Yeah.
It would be better if I had cookies. Just kidding.
Ooh, sponsor, sponsor.
Miss, I
Kyla
said
for
sponsor.
10%.
There are air quotes.
Use code
Is there a
VIN,
token for the
10%.
guest?
No. But no, honestly, it is the way it is. Like, I completely get being at that stage of your life where feel like everything has a countdown. Everything needs to get done by this time. And when it doesn't happen that way, it's almost like, well, what am I going to do now? Does that mean, like, I think a lot of the pressure that you guys put on yourself, or the feeling of failure and it's not a conscious thing. Obviously, you wouldn't want to put that on yourself, but not aligning with the expectations that people might have of you will always somehow feel like you're disappointing someone,
Mhm.
or that you're failing in some way, some shape, some form. But the thing is, and this is why, like, when I talk to you guys about how failure is the greatest teacher in life, like, it's part of experience. You cannot succeed at everything. That's why I love it when the entrepreneurs come and speak to you guys, because they will tell you repeatedly that for every successful business, there have been like 5, 10, 15 failed business plans, right?
Yeah.
And that's just a reflection of life. These plans that we have, like I told you guys the story in Oral Com last year about how when I was in high school and I thought I had the perfect relationship and we had our 10-year plan, and it was perfect. It was, you know, everything that a young girl would hope for.
Yeah.
Because like you have that semblance of security, you have that semblance of a future with someone, all of these things that we've been told will validate our life. It was presented. And, you know, when that didn't happen, I think that was my first kind of experience of, oh, so even if I plan for things, even if I want it to happen and do my best to make sure it happens, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen for a reason.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Miss. Actually, that special someone you had before is actually with us right now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was
So
like,
let's all welcome.
One of the things that I have learned over my years in dealing with kids is when to, like, my BS meter is very, very in tune.
What if it's
I was
actually
fooled.
a
I was
distraction?
fooled.
I'm kidding. That's a distraction, Miss. You've already conquered that. So,
Yay!
actually, okay, right now, Miss, I would just like to ask, like, you know, since before the pandemic, right, we had like the online world, like, you know, YouTube and just online, basically online, is like the place of people like to rest, to have fun, to have entertainment. But right now, you know, since everything is online, all the schools, stuff, meetings, classes, and everything is done online. You know, how can you, like, you know, balance your way out of that stuff, you know?
It's so difficult because I totally get what you mean. Like, we've been so used to picking up our phones as a break, right? As entertainment, like you said. And all of a sudden, the situation has kind of flipped that model on its head, where now you pick up your phone or you flip open your laptop at the beginning of the day, and that's the signal of like work. But the thing is, now is the best opportunity to rediscover how you can distract yourself offline. A lot of you guys are digital natives, and it'll be so difficult to kind of accept that paradigm shift, but it does need to be accepted, because we were just starting to realize or to recognize the effect that all of this screen time was having on brain development, on emotional quotient development, on adversity quotient development, all of these things. You know, we were just, because my generation, we didn't have, the internet came about when I was your age.
Yeah.
And even then, it was like paltry compared to what it's capable of doing now. You couldn't make a call and be online at the same time. It just didn't happen. That's how sad it was. And you guys have grown up with the internet. You guys have grown up with technology literally at your fingertips. And so it's going to be a huge adjustment. It's almost like your own version of a culture shock. I think it's so poetic. Like, sorry. Like the culture shock that I had to go through in coming in and kind of immersing myself in a different environment. You guys are going to have to do, but from a digital environment to kind of reintroducing yourself to the joys of offline life. And that is something difficult to do because it also is being able to be okay with yourself alone. And that's something that you guys don't have a lot of experience in, because the internet is, you know, it connects people. That's what it was meant to be. And you guys, again, have grown up with this, so you've grown up connected to the world, and all of a sudden, like, school is telling you to keep that connection going because we need to still help you through that educational journey. But because we've taken that aspect, we've taken that part of technology from you, and it's no longer enjoyable. You have it's almost like, you know how I was talking about, you need to sometimes your brain just needs to distract itself. Like, you need to indulge those in distractions. Otherwise, you're in front of your computer or you're in front of a screen all day, every day, and that's definitely not healthy. So now is such a good time for you guys to experience that isolation in a good way, because you really do learn a lot about yourself when you allow yourself to be quiet with yourself, to reflect, to, some people meditate, some yoga, some pray. These are all things that are tied together in my mind, because it allows you to kind of look inwards. It's called, intrinsic reflection, where you have to get to a point where you're okay being like sitting alone, sitting quietly, or reading, or don't say TV. I'm sorry, I love the MC, but no. Take a break from it. Taking up a hobby like crocheting, or even just dancing in your room like nobody's watching, because nobody is, and there's a joy in that.
You can sing.
Just completely letting
yourself.
Singing.
Yeah, exactly. Stop it. No,
do that.
we're not going there, Vin.
Okay. No, miss. No, I wasn't going there.
Okay, good. All right, good. It's not like I have a microphone underneath my desk. I'm just kidding. No.
Exclusive.
But yeah, I mean, it's so hard. That's one of the reasons why we want to be as understanding, like your teachers, your parents, your administration want to be as understanding and as supportive as we possibly can be, because it is a paradigm shift. And you guys are like, even in a normal year, you're ending a chapter, like a milestone. You're supposed to, I'm gonna make you cry.
It's okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Like, in any normal school year, this would have been a momentous year for all of you.
Yes.
And that on its own would have been a paradigm shift. Like that, all of a sudden you're growing up and you're growing out. But now it's like you have that to a lesser degree, and now this other paradigm shift of, I'm supposed to be connected, but I'm physically separated. I'm supposed to, the internet is supposed to be there as a way for me to, like, express myself freely but now it's been overtaken by education that sometimes doesn't encourage a lot of freedom and self-expression. And so trying to kind of reconcile those two things. So my advice, I guess, if I am in a place to give advice, is to go and explore everything you can in the safety of your home. And it might sound like, well, there's nothing. It's home. But there will always be things that you can do. Just pick up a pen, start a journal, start doodling. I got into plants.
Plantita.
Sourdough.
Plantita.
I took up baking. I mean, baking was a thing that I used to do in high school, and then and now that although I was like a failed business person because I would I would bake chocolate chip cookies, and I would get really nice ingredients, but then I would price my cookies very cheap, and eventually I would just give them away. So yeah, didn't work. I am not a salesperson. I am not a businessman at all. But like, even surrounding yourself with things or experiences or people that give you joy away from a screen is something that you can continue to benefit from even when quarantine ends, right? Learning a new skill, picking up a new hobby, reading books, these things will never hurt. And you find a lot about yourself. I don't know if that was grammatically correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Actually, we've been talking for over an hour, Miss, if you realize. But it's so good. It's so much gold, so much real stuff that all of us, I think, we have been thinking. And I really like what you said, Miss. Like, we just have the reflection, because I think this really is like a season of isolation, but we can use that time to like find out who we are when we're not in the world. We're gonna find out who we are, like, just as I am. And I think that it's good to use that time right now rather than just sulking about it. Maybe I should practice what I preach. But yeah, and it's just so good, Miss. Like, that was I really love the talk. So the other hosts want to add in.
Oh, sure. I mean, something that I really learned from what Miss has taught us today is one of them that really resonated was how we need to manage those family distractions. Because I can speak to that personally. I live in a tiny-ish unit with a brother and a mom, and something that I usually struggle with in terms of being distracted is they would ask me to do stuff while I'm in class or when I have a lot to do, and then they get really annoyed because I lack communication with them and telling them nicely. And I think sometimes I rely on them knowing without me actually communicating. Like, I just expect them to know, and that's really something I have to work on. And also, I like what Miss said about managing that feeling of you're running out of time, because that's definitely something that I struggle with, because as I approach Irvin's age, because he is the oldest one, it's something that I fear about, have I made the right choices? Do I know enough things to grow up? Am I ready to grow up? Do I still feel like a kid? And that's so. It was really nice to hear Miss Cherry's message about those things.
Yeah, but wait. Making right choice doesn't start when you're 20. It starts whenever. Okay. What I
actually,
that's true. I know that's why
it doesn't even start at my age. So, like Jacob was saying, like he still feels like a kid. I was like, yeah, I feel like a kid sometimes. Most of the time.
Good to know. I guess I'll never feel like an adult.
Yeah. So alright. So what I can say is, in the pandemic, things have come, challenges, relationships have been broken, even our mental health maybe have been challenged also. But it's time to, like Miss said and Kyla, to reflect on ourselves. Like, are we growing? Are we staying the same as before, right? So make sure, guys, that we grow through this, right? Just don't go through it, grow through it, guys. So that's what I can say. And thank you again, Miss, for everything. Yeah, we are so
Yes,
honored.
thank you so much,
you
Miss.
so
And thank you
much.
for joining us
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
on this holiday.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes.
And wait, before I forget to mention, this is the pilot episode, right? So we wanted to start strong, and we chose the best, and of course, we're not wrong about it. And of course, since it's pilot, we want someone to drive us into this, like to be the leader of this freaking plane. I don't know, I guess.
The leader of this
the
plane.
pilot. All right, so yeah, thank you, Miss. We're honored. We're super honored.
This is how sad it was. He was talking about pilots and plane, and I was like, beep beep.
Hey, we're
like,
looking
wait,
to the
planes
future.
don't have,
There might be air traffic soon.
Exactly. See, never lose that like youthful joy and the
I will
ability
never
to
say.
laugh at yourself.
Beep,
Beep beep.
All right, so do you want to say anything
much.
last to our audience, Miss, to the people listening? Right?
Well, honestly, when I say that I have been so blessed in all of my experiences, especially in my career, this is the prime example of it. Because when I came to Enderun, I had no inkling of what it was going to be like. I was applying for a faculty job. I just wanted to teach. And I was presented with this opportunity, and I really grappled with whether or not this was for me, whether or not I could do this, whether or not I should do this. Really? You're going to trust children and their welfare with me? And not just their English education? But every day since you guys started in grade 11 has been the best days. And I cannot thank you guys enough.
Same, Miss.
You are I love you guys.
Thank you too, Miss. Thank you too.
Thank you,
It's
Miss.
also the best
Thank
thing
you
to have
so
happen to us in
much.
Enderun so far. So thank you,
Aw.
Miss, for starting that journey for us. And that, yeah. So yeah, I think Kylan, Dickie wants to say something last.
Oh, sure. Well, thank you for also being our homeroom advisor, Miss. Urban and I are very lucky to have you. And
Even if you don't
Kyla
attend
does not get the
most.
privilege,
Kidding.
I
but they actually have a really good homeroom advisor too.
homeroom
Yeah.
advisor
Hey,
also.
shout
We
out
love
to
her
Miss
too.
Aina.
We love Miss
Love
Aina
you,
so
Miss
much too.
Aina. Love you, Miss Aina.
She is the best.
She is, yeah.
All right. So again, thank you guys for listening to us for an hour and 5 minutes right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
again, guys, don't forget to follow us on our personal social media you see up there. Or even find also Miss Cherry. I think she has her Instagram and Facebook and all. Okay. We're saying-
Oh, okay.
Okay, she
Alright.
doesn't have any
Secret.
social
So also follow us on Instagram with Enderun Inc. That's our main organization as an Enderun Unmuted. So again, thank you everyone. This has been Jacob, Kyla, Miss Cherry. And sorry to say we're muting now, but we're unmuting again next week. So thank you guys. Have a
Thank you
fun
guys.
Friday.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you. Keep
Bye.
safe. Be happy.